Cyber Threat Brief for May 13, 2026. Microsoft ships 137 patches with no 0 days for the first time in 2 years, but 3 critical flaws demand immediate attention. CVE 2026-41089 in Windows NetLogin allows unauthenticated remote code execution on domain controllers. CVE 2026-41096 in the Windows DNS client enables remote code execution without authentication. And CVE 2026-42898 in Dynamics 365 exposes CRM systems to code injection. Meanwhile, a critical use-after-free vulnerability in Exim mail servers, CVE 2026-45185, threatens code execution on GNU TLS builds, and supply chain attacks hit both NPM and Ruby Gems package repositories with hundreds of malicious packages targeting developers. Here's the full breakdown of today's top security stories. Cybersecurity Threat Brief. May 13, 2026. Next section, Critical Alerts. Microsoft Windows NetLogin Remote Code Execution, CVE 2026-41089. A stack-based buffer overflow in Windows NetLogin, CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, 9.8, allows unauthenticated remote attackers to execute code on domain controllers without user interaction. An attacker can send a specially crafted network request to a Windows server acting as a domain controller, causing the NetLogin service to improperly handle the request and execute malicious code without requiring any prior access or credentials. Compromised domain controller means a compromised domain. Action. Apply May 2026 Patch Tuesday updates immediately to all domain controllers running Windows Server 2012 and later. This is the highest impact bug, requiring immediate patching. Patches available for all Windows Server versions from 2012 onwards. Sources: Dark Reading Talos Intelligence CrowdStrike Krebs on Security Sans ISC. Microsoft Windows DNS Client RCE, CVE 2026-41096. A heap-based buffer overflow in the Windows DNS client, CVSS 9.8, enables unauthenticated remote code execution without user interaction. An attacker controlling a DNS server or positioned to intercept DNS responses could send a specially crafted DNS response to a vulnerable Windows system, causing the DNS client to incorrectly process the response and corrupt memory, potentially enabling RCE. Windows DNS client runs on virtually all Windows workstations and servers, creating enormous attack surface. Practical exploitation requires the attacker to be in a position to influence DNS responses through DNS spoofing, a rogue DNS server, or a machine-in-the-middle position on the network. Action. Apply May 2026 Patch Tuesday updates to all Windows workstations and servers. Monitor for DNS spoofing or rogue DNS servers on your network. Ensure DNS servers are properly secured and DNS traffic is monitored. Sources: Dark Reading Bleeping Computer CrowdStrike Krebs on Secure. Exim Mail Server Use After Free, CVE 2026-45185. A critical use after free vulnerability in Exim mail servers, all versions 4.97 through 4.99.2, enables memory corruption and potential code execution when a TLS connection is handled by GNU TLS. The vulnerability is triggered during BDAT message body handling, when a client sends a TLS close notify alert before the body transfer is complete, followed by a final byte in cleartext on the same TCP connection. This sequence causes Exim to write into a memory buffer that has already been freed during TLS session teardown, leading to heap corruption. The vulnerability only affects builds using use GNUDLS = yes. Open SSL builds are not impacted. Federico Kirschbaum from Expo discovered the flaw and describes it as one of the highest caliber bugs discovered in Exim to date. Action. Upgrade all Exim servers to version 4.99.3 immediately. No mitigations exist. Identify GNU TLS builds with Exim BV grep GNU TLS and prioritize those systems. Open SSL builds are not affected but should still be updated to the latest version. Source: The Hacker News. Microsoft Entra ID Credential Bypass, CVE 2026-41103. A critical elevation of privilege vulnerability allows an unauthorized attacker to impersonate an existing user by presenting forged credentials, bypassing Entra ID, formerly Azure Active Directory, authentication. Microsoft assesses exploitation as more likely. The vulnerability affects the Microsoft SSO plugin for Jira and Confluence, making it particularly dangerous given ongoing supply chain attacks targeting development and CI/CD tools. Action: apply May 2026, Patch Tuesday updates to all systems running Microsoft SSO plugin for Jira and Confluence. Review Entra ID authentication, logs for anomalous authentication patterns or credential presentations. Monitor for unauthorized access to development and CI/CD systems. Sources: Krebs on Security Sans ISC. Next section: Ransomware and Extortion. Foxconn confirms ransomware attack. Nitrogen Gang claims data theft. Foxconn confirmed a ransomware attack that disrupted North American factory operations earlier this month, after workers leaked internal messages on social media. The Nitrogen ransomware group claimed the attack Tuesday, alleging theft of 8 terabytes of data, including confidential projects and chip drawings for Apple, Google, and NVIDIA orders. The company operates major manufacturing facilities for Apple iPhone and iPad production, plus contract manufacturing for numerous tech companies. Source: The Register. Risky Biz News. Instructure pays ransom to restore Canvas platform. Ed tech company Instructure paid hackers who took down its Canvas student management platform, restoring service over the weekend after nearly 9,000 universities, schools, and school districts lost access during end-of-year exams. The company emailed schools about the payment before restoration. Payment amount is unknown, but the company's name was removed from the attacker's leak site. The House Homeland Security Committee has summoned Instructure leadership to a meeting, and there is a concerted effort to track the group via blockchain payments. Source: Risky Biz News. Next section: Business and Infrastructure Threats. Supply chain attack on NPM TAN stack packages. A cache poisoning attack compromised TAN stack framework packages on NPM, spreading to over 400 NPM libraries within hours. The attack originated from the TAN stack framework's packages and targeted developers, not NPM staff. The incident happened simultaneously with a separate attack on Ruby gems, but involved different tactics and targets. Action: review NPM package dependencies for TAN stack packages installed or updated on Monday, May 12. Run NPM audit and check for unexpected package modifications. Review developer workstation logs for suspicious activity during the attack window. Consider implementing package hash verification for critical dependencies. Source: Risky Biz News. The Register. Ruby Gems disables signups after staff-targeted attack. The Ruby Gems package repository disabled new user signups after a malicious attack Monday targeted its engineers and staff. Hundreds of malicious packages were published Monday and again Tuesday, containing code aimed at Ruby Gems developers through cross-site scripting attacks designed to steal data from their systems. The attack is unrelated to the simultaneous NPM TAN stack supply chain attack. Details remain unclear on what the attackers tried to steal from Ruby Gems staff. Ruby Gems also reported a DDoS attack, though this may be terminology confusion referring to the flood of malicious packages rather than an actual distributed denial-of-service attack. Action: review Ruby Gems package dependencies installed or updated May 12-13. Scan Ruby projects with bundle audit for known vulnerabilities. Check developer workstations for cross-site scripting payloads or data exfiltration. Monitor Ruby Gems security team updates at rubygems.org/pages/security. Source: Risky Biz News. Best Western International data breach. Best Western International is notifying guests of a security breach affecting its reservation systems. A hacker had access to reservation systems for over 6 months between October 2025 and April 2026. The company operates several hotel brands including Best Western, Sure Hotels, and World Hotels. Source: Risky Biz News. UK water utility fined for 2-year breach detection failure. The UK Information Commissioner's Office fined South Staffordshire Water nearly £1 million for failing to detect hackers in its network for almost 2 years. The extended dwell time allowed attackers prolonged access to water utility systems and customer data. Source: Risky Biz News. Next section: Windows/AD security. Microsoft Office Word Preview Pane RCE vulnerabilities. 2 Microsoft Office Word vulnerabilities, CVE 2026-40361, and both CVSS 8.4, allow remote code execution through the preview pane without user interaction. Is a memory-related vulnerability enabling remote code execution locally. Is a type confusion bug stemming from incorrect memory handling. An attacker can trigger both flaws by simply sending a maliciously crafted document. Outlook's reading pane can execute the code without the user ever opening the file, and 3 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action: apply May 2026, Patch Tuesday updates to all Microsoft Office installations immediately, especially for users who commonly receive email attachments. Consider disabling preview pane in Outlook until patches are applied. File options Trust Center settings attachment handling unchecked turn off attachment preview. Sources: Dark Reading Talos Intelligence Bleeping Computer. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Code Injection, CVE 2026-42898. A critical code injection vulnerability, CVSS 9.9. In Microsoft Dynamics 365 on-premises allows any authenticated remote attacker to execute arbitrary code over a network with no user interaction required. An attacker could modify the saved state of a process session in Dynamics CRM and trigger the system to process that data, causing the server to execute malicious code. While Microsoft categorizes the flaw as unlikely to be exploited, the lack of privilege requirements and zero user interaction makes it extremely dangerous. Compromise of Dynamics 365 infrastructure can expose customer records, operational workflows, financial information, and integrated business systems. Since CRM environments often connect with identity services, databases, and enterprise applications, successful exploitation could lead to broader organizational compromise. Action: Apply May 2026 Patch Tuesday updates to all Microsoft Dynamics 365 on-premises installations immediately. Review Dynamics 365 process session logs for unauthorized modifications. Monitor network traffic to slash from CRM servers for anomalous patterns. Ensure CRM systems are segmented from other critical business systems. Sources: Dark Reading Cyberscoop CrowdStrike. Windows GDI RCE via malicious EMF files, CVE 2026-35421. A heap-based buffer overflow in Windows GDI, CVSS 8.8, allows unauthorized attackers to execute code locally by exploiting a vulnerability triggered when a user opens or processes a specially crafted enhanced metafile, EMF file, using Microsoft Paint. The vulnerability requires user action, opening the file, but could be chained with social engineering or delivered via email attachments. Action: Apply May 2026 Patch Tuesday updates. Train users to avoid opening EMF files from untrusted sources. Block EMF attachments at the email gateway if enhanced metafiles are not business critical. Sources: Talos Intelligence Bleeping Computer. Microsoft SharePoint RCE, CVE 2026-40365. A critical vulnerability in Microsoft SharePoint Server allows an authenticated attacker, at least site owner role, to write and execute arbitrary code remotely on the SharePoint server. The insufficient granularity of access control enables privileged users to inject and execute code in network-based attacks. Action: Apply May 2026 Patch Tuesday updates to all SharePoint servers. Review site owner role assignments and remove unnecessary privileges. Monitor SharePoint server logs for code injection attempts or unexpected code execution. Audit recent site owner activity for anomalous behavior. Sources: Talos Intelligence Bleeping Computer. Azure Critical Vulnerabilities Remediate by Microsoft. 3 critical vulnerabilities affecting Azure services. CVE 2026-33109. And, with CVSS scores up to 10.0, have been proactively remediated by Microsoft within cloud infrastructure, without requiring customer action. CVSS 10.0 is a critical information disclosure vulnerability in Azure DevOps, allowing unauthenticated remote attackers to disclose sensitive information. CVSS 9.9 and CVSS 9.0 are RCE vulnerabilities in Azure Managed Instance for Apache Cassandra. CVSS 9.9 is an elevation of privilege vulnerability in Azure Logic Apps and 7 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action: No customer action required. Microsoft has already applied patches to cloud infrastructure. Review Azure DevOps access logs for unauthorized information disclosure attempts prior to remediation. Monitor Azure Logic Apps and Cassandra instances for anomalous activity. Sources: Cyberscoop CrowdStrike. Windows 11 May 2026 updates. Microsoft released Windows 11 kilobytes 5,089,549 and KB 5,087,420 cumulative updates for versions 25H2/24H2 and 23H2. Containing May 2026 Patch Tuesday security patches for 120 vulnerabilities. Updates are mandatory and can be installed via Windows Update or downloaded from Microsoft Update Catalog. After installation, Windows 11 25H2/24H2 will be billed 26,200, 8,457/26,100, 8,457, and 23H2 will be 22,631, 7,079. New features include Xbox mode on desktop, expanded File Explorer archive format support, CPO, ZAR, NuGet packages, improved haptic feedback for compatible input devices, and enhanced batch file security controls for administrators. Action: deploy May 2026 Windows 11 updates, KB 5,089,549/KB 5,087,420 to all Windows 11 systems. Known issue: systems using BitLocker with PCR7 in TPM validation profile plus Windows UEFI CA 2023 certificate may prompt for BitLocker recovery key. Temporary workaround: remove affected group policy setting, suspend and resume BitLocker to regenerate default PCR bindings. Sources: Bleeping Computer. Windows 10 Extended Security Update, KB 5,087,544 Microsoft released Windows 10 kilobytes 5,087,544 Extended Security Update fixing May 2026 Patch Tuesday vulnerabilities and resolving an issue with remote desktop security warnings. Available for Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC and ESU program enrollees. After installation, Windows 10 updates to build 19,045, 7,291, and Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC 2021 to 19,000 and 44.7,291. The update fixes remote desktop connection security warning dialog, rendering incorrectly in multi-monitor configurations with different display scaling settings, and enables dynamic secure boot status reporting in Windows Security app. Action: deploy KB 5,087,544 to all Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC systems and ESU-enrolled devices. Same BitLocker recovery key issue affects Windows 10. Apply same workaround if needed. Source: Bleeping Computer. Next section, General Security News. AI-driven vulnerability discovery, accelerating patch volumes. Microsoft's May 2026 Patch Tuesday is the first in nearly 2 years with no actively exploited 0 days or previously disclosed flaws. However, the company disclosed 137 CVEs, 13 critical, marking the third month this year with over 100 CVEs. Through May, Microsoft has patched over 500 CVEs, on pace to surpass the annual record of 1,245 bugs disclosed in 2020. Microsoft's VP of Engineering, Tom Gallagher, stated that large releases will soon be the norm, with AI helping researchers uncover more vulnerabilities than before. Advanced AI models are part of the discovery picture and help to accelerate it. They enable us to reason about code paths and configurations at a speed and consistency that would not be possible through manual review alone. Multiple tech giants including Apple, Mozilla, Oracle, and Google participated in Anthropic's Project Glasswing, an AI capability that has proven effective at unearthing security vulnerabilities in code. Apple fixed 52 vulnerabilities in iOS 15, up from an average of 20. Mozilla resolved 271 vulnerabilities in Firefox 150. Oracle addressed 450 flaws, including 300+ remotely exploitable unauthenticated flaws. Google fixed 127 Chrome vulnerabilities, up from 30 the previous month. Oracle switched to monthly updates for critical security issues in response to Glasswing findings. Sources: Dark Reading Krebs on Security. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, releases SBOM guidance for AI systems. CISA and G7 international partners, Germany, Canada, France, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, and European Union, released joint guidance. Software Bill of Materials for AI to Minimum Elements, to help public and private sector stakeholders improve transparency in AI systems and supply chains. The guidance builds on CISA's previous SBOM work and provides recommendations on minimum elements for AI system SBOM. Because AI systems are software systems, these recommendations supplement general SBOM minimum elements. The supplemental elements reflect G7 expert consensus and will expand over time to keep pace with AI technology advancement. Source: CISA. Next section, Patch Priority. Domain Controllers. Apply CVE 2026-41089, Windows NetLogin RCE, patch immediately. Unauthenticated remote code execution on domain controllers requires no user interaction. All Windows systems. Apply CVE 2026-41096, Windows DNS Client RCE, patch. Affects virtually all Windows workstations and servers. Exim mail servers, GNU TLS builds. Upgrade to Exim 4.99.3 immediately. CVE 2026-45185 enables code execution with minimal prerequisites. Microsoft Office. Apply patches for CVE 2026-40361 and CVE 2026-40364. Word Preview Pane RCE. No user interaction required if Preview Pane is enabled. Dynamics 365 on-premises. Apply CVE 2026-42898 patch. Code injection, CVSS 9.9. Any authenticated user can execute arbitrary code. Next section, Vulnerability Disclosures. Intel and AMD chipmaker vulnerabilities. Intel and AMD released over 24 advisories addressing 70 vulnerabilities across their product portfolios. Intel published 13 advisories describing 24 security defects, 1 critical, 8 high severity. The critical bug CVE 2026-20794, CVSS 9.3, is a buffer overflow in data center graphics driver for VMware XC, enabling privilege escalation and potentially code execution. Intel also addressed high-severity vulnerabilities in Vision Software, Endpoint Management Assistant, EMA, UEFI firmware, and Quick Assist Technology CAT drivers. AMD published 15 advisories covering 45 vulnerabilities, 1 critical, 24 high severity. The critical bug CVE 2026-0481, CVSS 9.2, affects AMD Device Metrics Exporter, ROCm ecosystem, which exposes port 50061 on all network interfaces by default, allowing unauthenticated users to access the GPU agent gRPC server and perform unauthorized GPU configuration changes. Action: Intel customers, apply data center graphics driver updates for VMware XC immediately, CVE 2026-20794. Update Vision Software, EMA, UEFI firmware, and QAT drivers for Windows. AMD customers, update AMD Device Metrics Exporter and restrict port 50061 exposure, CVE 2026-0481. Apply updates for Secure Processor, GPO Controller, Revenera Install Shield, Ionic Cloud Driver, RAID Driver, and chipset drivers. Source: Security Week. ABB Industrial Control System Vulnerabilities, CIS published multiple advisories for ABB product vulnerabilities. ABB AC500v3 PLC firmware versions below 3.9.0 are affected by 3 vulnerabilities enabling forced browsing to bypass user management. CVE 2025-2595. Certificate and key read/write access via CodeC's protocol, and denial of service via null pointer dereference. ABB AC500v3 PM5 XXX firmware 3.9.0 and 3.9.0 HF1 are affected by a critical stack buffer overflow, CVSS 9.8, in CMS message parsing that can cause crash, DOS, or potentially RCE. ABB Automation Builder Gateway for Windows versions below 2.9.0 are affected by, which exposes the gateway on all network adapters by default on port 1217, enabling unauthenticated attackers to scan for PLCs. ABB WebPro SNMP card power value versions 1.1.8. K and earlier are affected by 3 vulnerabilities including authentication bypass via single character validation and 5 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action: Update ABB AC500v3 to firmware 3.9.0 HF1 via Automation Builder 2.9.0. Update ABB Automation Builder Gateway to 2.9.0 or configure local address equals 127.0.0.1 in Gateway. CFG, if remote access is not required. Update ABB WebPro SNMP card power value to version 1.1.8. P. Contact ABB support for upgrade assistance. Sources: CISA IXA 26100 and 32.3, C. ISA IXA 26100 and 32.5, C. ISA IXA 26100 and 32.4, C. ISA IXA 26100 and 32.6. Siemens, Schneider Electric, and ICS, Industrial Control Systems, vendors publish Patch Tuesday advisories. Siemens published 18 new security advisories, several describing critical vulnerabilities. Critical issues include device takeover in Centron 7, KT PSE 1261 Data Manager, XSS in Symantec S7 PLC Web Server, command execution as root in RuggedCom ROX, arbitrary file access in ROS hash, over 300 third-party component flaws in Symantec CN 4100, and missing authentication in OpCenter RDNL. Siemens informed customers that RuggedCom APE 1808 is affected by the recently disclosed Palo Alto Networks PANOS vulnerability exploited in the wild. Schneider Electric published 4 advisories addressing high-severity vulnerabilities in EcoStruxure panel server, sensitive information exposure, EasyLogic T150 and SATL DP-RTU, unauthorized file access, and EasyLogic, PowerLogic, ECG, and EcoStruxure products. Session hijacking. CIS also released advisories for Subnet Solutions Power System Center vulnerabilities, CVE 2026-35555, enabling information disclosure and CRLF injection, and 3 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action: Siemens customers. Apply updates for Centron, Symantec, RuggedCom, RoseHash, and OpCenter products immediately. Check if RuggedCom APE 1808 is deployed and apply PANOS mitigation guidance. Schneider Electric customers. Apply updates for EcoStruxure, EasyLogic, PowerLogic, ECG products. Subnet Solutions customers. Update Power System Center to PSC 2020 Update 29, PSC 2024 Update 2, or PSC 2026 GA hotfix. Sources: Security Week CIS IXA 26132. Next section, Trends and Context. May 2026 Patch Tuesday marks a significant milestone as the first Microsoft release in nearly 2 years without actively exploited 0 days, but the volume of vulnerabilities continues to escalate, driven by AI-assisted discovery. With 137 flaws patched this month and over 500 year-to-date, Microsoft is on track to surpass its 2020 record of 1,245 annual CVEs. The trend extends beyond Microsoft. AI-driven vulnerability discovery, through initiatives like Anthropic's Project Glasswing, is forcing every major vendor to increase patch velocity. Apple, Mozilla, Oracle, and Google have all shipped dramatically larger security updates in recent months, with Oracle switching to monthly critical security releases. Simultaneously, supply chain attacks on software development ecosystems continue to intensify. The simultaneous NPM TAN stack cache poisoning attack and Ruby Gems staff-targeted campaign demonstrate attackers focus on developer toolchains as force multipliers. Defenders face a dual challenge: accelerating patch deployment cycles to keep pace with AI-discovered vulnerabilities while hardening development pipelines against supply chain compromise. The 3 critical Windows vulnerabilities, NetLogin, DNS client, Entra ID bypass, plus the Exim mail server flaw demand immediate attention, as each provides threat actors with high-value attack paths requiring minimal prerequisites. That concludes today's Cyber Threat Brief. From Carolina Clear Tech, stay patched, stay vigilant.